Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today is a DIY unicorn bubble bar. Stick around and I'll show you how I make them. I'm Maggie Flynn and welcome back to my channel, Bare Essentials Living, where I give skincare and beauty tips. Today is a unicorn bubble bar. Here are some of the ingredients that we're going to be using. A list of all the items and the recipe will be in the description below. And here is some of the equipment I'll be using today. Okay, let's get started. This is the baking soda, cream of tartar, and cornstarch. Here is the glycerin, oil, water, and fragrance. We're just going to mix that up until all the liquids come together. Now you're going to come back to the dry ingredients and break up the big chunks. Now you could use a strainer, but that's just one more thing to get dirty. Now the only thing that I didn't include in the dry ingredients is the sodium lauryl sulfoacetate. I know that's a mouthful. So don't confuse sodium lauryl sulfoacetate with the sodium lauryl or sodium laureth sulfate. SLSA is a gentle, high-quality foaming agent. Now that you added the SLSA, you have to stir gently because it can become airborne and cause you to cough quite a bit. So if you want to wear a mask during this time, now would be a good time. All right, so now we're going to add in the liquids to our dry ingredients, and this is just making sure that you're wearing gloves. You're going to start to mix this by hand. I want to go back and talk about the SLSA versus the SLS because I think the SLSA gets a bad rap. It's actually a very gentle, high-quality foaming agent, typically more expensive because the SLS, or the sodium lauryl sulfate, or the sodium laureth sulfate, is known to cause skin irritations, probably due to the contaminated cancer-causing agents. So it's cheaper, and you're going to find it in hair products and body wash and other soaps because they're mass-produced. The other difference is that SLSA is a natural organic salt, so it is an all-natural ingredient. All right, so we are getting towards the end here of the mixing process. As you can see, it's coming together as a nice dough. When you're making bubble bars, you really have to work fast because as it starts to dry, it can crack. So today we're making the unicorn fragrance bubble bar. And the unicorn scent is a playful, fruity scent of strawberry, peaches, raspberry, and cotton candy. So for the unicorn bubble bars, we are going to divvy up the dough into 6 colors and make it into a beautiful rainbow. When we add colorant, if you're making this at home and you have food coloring, you can use food coloring. I use all natural Micas. It's really going to be up to you. Or no colorant. It's really up to you. Now, when it comes to how much colorant you want to add, that's really a preference. So now remember, when you are working with this type of dough, you gotta work kind of fast. So mixing 6 colors is really hard. And because the colors are so different, you do want to start with the light color so you don't mix the dirty glove with the lighter color. So if I started with the red and then I tried to mix the yellow, I would contaminate the yellow. So yep, start with the lightest color and then you're going to want to mix. Because I'm doing Micas, or I'm using Micas, it's a powder, so it's a lot harder to mix. And what you're trying to do is just make sure that the mica gets well distributed. So I want to go back and talk about SLS and SLSA while you watch me mix the colors. There's not going to be a whole lot going on other than mixing. So SLS, the sodium lauryl or sodium laureth sulfate, is in many commercially produced soaps and body wash and shampoo. Most people have already been exposed to it, and you're actually going to find it in many detergents when you wash your clothes. So if you don't already have an allergic reaction to a specific soap. I mean, most of the time if you have skin irritation to a soap, you're going to stop using that. So many people may not have skin irritations, but if you already struggle with eczema or some kind of rash, then you may want to be a little bit more particular about the soaps and the detergents that you use, because it could be something else. It could be a fragrance. It could be some other chemical that is used in those soaps. There's lots of people who have sensitivities to different products, and it may not be the SLS. It's probably not the SLSA, because that's a high quality, very gentle, natural foaming agent, but still you could have some sensitivities to it. So if you have sensitivities, you probably shouldn't be using bubble bars and bath bombs. However, when you do a DIY project, at least you can control the ingredients, and that is the best part about doing a DIY project. So you can do it yourself. You can modify the ingredients. I'm just showing you what I use in the products that I make for my business. The Bare Essentials lines uses all natural ingredients, and I label everything so that you know what I use. So we're finishing up the rainbow here, and the purple is the last color. You can see I'm getting so stinking tired. Oh my goodness, this is taking forever. Oh my goodness, did that just seem to take forever? Finally, we are ready to assemble. All right, let's get started. Get your parchment paper out, and let's start setting up our beautiful rainbow. Okay, I did change gloves because the last color was a dark purple, and I didn't want to contaminate my yellow. So now I'm going to start to make a small mound, and I'm going to slightly overlap the colors because I don't want them to come apart when I roll it out and start to form one dough. You want a little bit of an overlap, and as you can see, I'm keeping it kind of a small pile, and I am going to try, as you'll see as I put another row on after another row, I'm going to start to form a rectangle. And you want to keep, like I said, those colors slightly overlapped, and as it comes to tries to fall apart on you, push those sides back in and keep pressing it down, but try to be uniform. Now I know what you're going to say, that I didn't start with the red like you're supposed to in a rainbow. I guess the acronym is like ROYGBP, so red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I was trying to work fast with these colors, and I just started laying them down. I knew that red and yellow makes orange, so when I laid down the yellow, I put the orange in between the red, and then I knew that blue and red makes purple, so I laid down the purple between the two, and then I had green left over, so that's just the way it ended up. Anyway, so as you're laying it out, again, remember to overlap the colors. Another way that you could do this is just lay out one sheet of the yellow or whatever color you want to start with, and then lay the other colors on top, so that you're making more of a sandwich of colors as opposed to what I did and made a sheet of all the colors. So you're going to use another sheet of parchment paper, and you're going to get a rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a bottle of wine or maybe a pan to press down with. But what you're going to try and do is evenly press out the dough, and again, you're going to be working fast, and oops, look at that, I cracked it a little bit. But what you're going to try and do is work quickly and press it out. And remember, I started with a pretty small rectangle, but look how big this is getting. Fix it, oh my goodness, it almost fell apart. Anyway, the beautiful thing about this is that all you have to do is keep pressing it and squishing it back together, making a nice rectangle. And this is a little bit of a tricky part, is now you're going to start to roll it. And don't try to rush this, but at the same time, you got to work quickly. So you're going to roll small increments and press and form it as you go. So that's why it's important for you to overlap those colors, because if they were just pressed against each other, it would be more likely that it could split and fall apart where those colors meet. So again, all you're going to do is from now try to roll it and keep the rectangular shape and press, and you don't want air pockets in there, so that's why it's really important for you to press and keep those sides pressed in. And you're going to roll until you get to the other end. And roll and press, keep those sides tucked in. So you can continue watching for the next few minutes as I continue to roll and form, or you can forward it to where I start cutting. So here we're starting to just cut off the end so we make a nice straight edge, but I could already tell with this knife, the knife was too thick, and as you'll see, I'm gonna have problems because the side that you're watching is getting a little bit caught, and what I'm having to do is clean up the edges, which is what you want to do. You want to clean up the edges anyway, but I could feel that the knife was too thick, and I was struggling on the back end, and I said, oh man, it's gonna fall apart. Yeah, right here. Oh my goodness. So I could feel that the knife was just too thick for this. So I did swap knives and continue cutting, and you know, you can stop and reshape and just make sure that you still have good shape. So you could see I switched knives and it was a much cleaner cut. Again, I just kind of smoothen out the edges. I do work in small batches. I just think that it's a higher quality so that the ingredients are more evenly distributed. One batch makes about 12, maybe 16 bubble bars, depending on how big you cut them. Each bubble bar you can break in half for one use. So each bubble bar you can get 2 bubble baths out of it, and they really are quite decadent. I'll show you the beautiful fluffy bubbles that are made, but I just think that turned out so pretty. So we'll finish watching me cut these. I am setting them on a tray with another parchment paper. Once I have them all cut and all the edges are nice and smooth, I will lay them out, and of course we have to add glitter. What are unicorn bubble bars without glitter? I mean, just the word unicorn is magical, and you think sparkles. So I definitely had to add a little bit of glitter to these. So now that they're done, I let them sit out on the tray overnight and let them dry, and then I will shrink wrap them the next morning. So I think that these turned out beautiful. A little bit of sparkle if you can see it. So beautiful. So now you can see a demo of these bubbles. Just a little bit of crumble is all you need. Look at that. So you run it under water, and just like that, you get these luscious, fluffy bubbles. Wonderful. And then the scent of the unicorn is just a beautiful, fun, fruity scent. Well, that's it. I hope you really enjoyed this bubble bar DIY tutorial. Remember to subscribe and share this video. Give it a thumbs up. Share it with your DIY addicts. And of course, follow me on all your favorite social media. Until next time, ciao bella.